What's the easiest way to upload and sell both your physical and digital comics on Amazon? Stay tuned. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. We also create comics. That's one of the things that I love to create is comics. And if you're going to create something, if you're going to spend all that time on it, you want people to see it. And what's the best place to get your book out there where everyone can see it? Well, that's got to be Amazon, because it is the biggest marketplace in the world. But it may seem a little overwhelming on, I got this little comic that I created. How do I get it up on Amazon? This big thing where everyone's selling stuff. Is it really that easy? How difficult is it? Well, it's not as hard as you might think. I'm going to tell you how you can do this fairly simply. I'll kind of take you step by step, but there are a number of different ways you can sell books on Amazon. Today what we're going to talk about is POD, which is print on demand. This is really cool. All you have to do is upload a digital file. You don't have to print a bunch of books and ship them to a warehouse or anything like that. There are some drawbacks to this method in that it's not as profitable if you were to go to like an offset printer and print that stuff up. But usually for people just starting out, this is a great option because you don't have to sink a lot of money into it. In fact, you really don't have to sink any money into it. You can upload your books for free, and then if you can market them well enough, and we'll talk about some of the ways you can do that to hopefully get more people to see those. But if you can get those books uploaded and you can market them, and then you can start selling it basically zero cost to you, which is a really good option, like I said, if you're just starting out. The other huge benefit to this, and I talked about this in a previous episode, this is sort of part 2, but this can stand alone as its own video, and that is it's a great way to save on international shipping, because if you've ever tried to ship anything, at least from the United States to another country internationally, it can be really expensive. Your customers are probably going to pay 2, possibly even 3 times what that book costs just to ship it, and that's kind of crazy. So if your customer has Amazon Prime, you can upload this and you can ship that out to them without this crazy, this just massive cost to both you and your customers. If you want to learn a little more about the benefits of that, I will leave a link to my previous episode, part 1 of this. But like I said, you don't have to watch that necessarily, but I think you might benefit from getting the full picture of that. So check that out if you're interested. So on this channel, I talk a lot about making comics. So that's what we're going to concentrate on specifically, but you can use this method for pretty much any kind of book. If you want to upload a novel, if you want to upload, I've done, like I said, notebooks, and there's many different ways that you can do this. And this is, again, print on demand through the Amazon KDP platform. Let's talk about how to get your comics up. Now, first of all, I want to preface this with what I'm talking about as far as comics, because there are some limitations. For instance, if you just have, a floppy comic like this, like a book that would come out monthly, probably roughly about 22 pages, you're not going to be able to upload this to Amazon. It's got to be a little bit thicker than that. So a collection, like a graphic novel or a trade paperback, that's what we're talking about. Probably, I would say, around maybe like a minimum of 50 pages. In the previous episode, I said 25. I've got workbooks and I've got like coloring books that are 25 pages, but it's actually 50 pages because they're blank on the back, because when you color, I didn't want anything to bleed through. So that's why I threw out the 25 page, which may have been a little confusing because, like I said, you can't really do a 22 pager, with each page, front and back, counting as one page. So I'm saying about a 50 page book is about what you're looking at as a minimum. And I don't know exactly what you can go up to as far as printing on Amazon KDP, but I would think if your graphic novel is under 300 pages, you shouldn't have a problem doing that. So I'm going to show you how to design and upload your books to the Amazon KDP platform, and I'm going to be using a suite of tools called BookBoat. This is an awesome set of tools that will allow you to do many different things, and I'm going to just touch on a few of the things you can do with that in creating this book. I will leave an affiliate link in the description to BookBoat. If you use that link, you're going to save 20% off of BookBoat, so definitely check that out and you'll see some of the cool stuff you can do with it. So without any further ado, let's dive into how you can design and upload your books to Amazon using Amazon KDP and BookBoat. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start laying out our covers and interior pages so that we can upload those to Amazon, and we're going to do that using BookBolt. So like I said, I left a link to BookBolt. You can click on that link. We can go here. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to the BookBolt designer, and we are going to first create a cover. Now, you can't really, it's probably not best to actually try to create your artwork for the cover, but what I do is I create the elements to the cover, and then I bring them over and then I drop them into BookBolt. And BookBolt offers many tools. We're going to use the designer. So we're going to go in here, we're going to choose a template, and we're going to go to cover. So we're going to select cover, and then the trim size, which is the book, the size of the book's going to be printed at. For this, we're going to use a 6x9 inch size. And we're going to select white paper, and you can do, I think there's like cream and there's color, but this is black and white paper. And then we are going to select 150 page. That's going to be the number of pages. Now you may be saying, well, why do I need to know the number of pages? It's just for the cover. And that is for the spine right here, because the more pages you have, the larger the spine is. So even if you're just designing a cover, you need to know the size of your book so that we can make that spread between the back cover and the front cover the correct size and make that spine the same size. And you can see there's a lot of different tools. We can add different colors here. But as I mentioned, I'm going to create my own artwork in another program, and then I'm going to drop it into this designer. So I've got my logos, I've got some background art that I created, and I'm just going to bring these in different elements, and then we can drop that stuff in there. We can resize it, you know, we can rotate it. There's a lot of different things I can do. This right now has a little effect on it, which is a weathering effect. I'm going to get rid of that. That's one of the options. So if you do want sort of a vintage look, you can select from all these different vintage styles. So we're not going to use that for this. And then it's just layered. So I can go ahead and I can drop my logo in here. I can resize it and basically just lay out my comic. So what I'm uploading now is one of my comic book workbooks. In this case, it's a make your own manga. This is a lettering book, so it's going to give you a chance to practice your hand lettering. It's going to have different guides based on the Ames lettering guide system where you can go in and practice lettering, and it's got some tips and things in there. So that's what I'm uploading now. So I've got the different elements in here. I've got my logo, I've got my background, but I need more than that, so I want to create some type, and you can do that right in the program. It's got a lot of fonts in here. I think you can upload your own fonts as well. I'm just going to pick Oswald for this, so you can see I'm just centering it here, and then there's a lot you can do. I can rotate the type, I can scale it up and down, I can change the font, I can add different colors to it. So yeah, it's just a really simple and easy way to lay out your own, your own work. I tend to use Illustrator for this, but Illustrator is a pricey program, and BookBolt, with all the different things that it offers, because it's not just this designer, they've got all kinds of different tools, so it really is a cheaper option if you want to lay out your comics, as well as use all the other upload tools and things that they offer. So the other thing you can do is right here is add the copy to the spine. Now, this is important. When you are uploading your book, when you title your book to upload to Amazon, your title has to be either on the front cover or on the spine of the book. Depending on how big it is, how big your book is, that is the limitation of how much you can fit on the spine. If it's about 50 pages, you're going to have a really thin spine, so you may not be able to do that. You may not be able to put any type on the spine. So you want to make sure, for instance, this book is called, Make Your Own Manga. So that's the title that's on there. So whatever you put in your title, that has to, if you want to upload it with that, Amazon will not let you upload unless that information is on the actual cover. So keep that in mind. All right, so now that we have our cover designed, we're going to want to upload our interior. Now, like I said, for the comic or this particular workbook, I created all the pages separately, but I'm going to upload them using the BookBolt Designer. Now I've selected the interior because we're going to create the interior pages. Now this part is a little bit limited. Once again, I'm going to set my 6x9, 150 pages, and I'm going to just select bleed, which means anything that's going to go to the edge of the paper, you want to create a bleed for. And I usually select bleed even if I don't have a full bleed, just because it's just one, I don't have to worry about the different sizes. So in this particular one, the interior doesn't bleed off the edge. So you can see I'm just dropping in my pages here. Now the sort of pink border inside, that is where your bleed is, and you want to make sure, more or less, to make sure that all your type is in there. If it's a full bleed like this, some of the stuff can go outside of that, but the important things like the type should fit inside there. Mine goes a little bit off, but I still think I'm safe. So I'm laying out these 2 pages. Now, the limitation with this, and I'm hoping they improve on this and expand it, is that you can only upload 2 pages for the interior. And the way this works is that once you export it, and if you look up here, now you can save your file up at the upper left-hand corner. There's a file, you can save it, and then where it says download, you do that, and based on the number of pages, it just duplicates those 2 pages and it prints those over and over again. Because a lot of people, what they're using this BookBolt and Amazon KDP for is what they call low content books, and that means like notebooks and things where it's pretty much the same, like you've just got these lined notebooks. So that's why it's just repeating those same pages over and over again. That's not really going to work for us. So that's usually, I typically design my stuff in InDesign. Again, it's an expensive program. It's part of the Adobe suite, but there are workarounds and you can use BookBolt to do this. So what I'm doing here in this example, I'm just going to set up those 2 pages. I'm going to download those, you know, and then I'm just going to set up my next 2 pages and download those. And then what you can do is you can go online and there are books, and once it downloads it, what it does is it downloads it as a PDF. Now, the only format that Amazon KDP will accept is PDF format, so it has to be PDF. So it's going to download those pages as PDF, and if you just create each one of those, get the sizes right, download them, and then take those PDFs, and you can go to a PDF combiner. There's some free ones online. If you have I think the full version of Adobe Acrobat, you can combine PDFs that way. But then you can just take all those different files, combine them into one PDF, and then you can upload those to Amazon. Okay, so we've designed both our cover and our interiors using the BookBolt Designer. We've downloaded those PDFs. We've combined the PDFs for our interiors. Those are all ready to go. So the next thing we have to do is upload to Amazon. And before we can do that, we have to sign up for an Amazon KDP account. Now, the great thing is, it's free. You don't have to pay any money to do this. I believe anyone can join. I don't think there's any qualifications or anything, which is unlike some of the other Amazon programs like Amazon Merch where you sell t-shirts. That you actually have to qualify for, but I believe anyone can join Amazon KDP. So that's pretty awesome. Now that our account has been approved by Amazon KDP, we've got our account, now we've got to upload our books. So what we're going to do, now you can create a digital copy, a Kindle ebook, or you can do paperback. That's what we're going to do now. So we're selecting paperback. I'm using English as my first language. I'm entering my title of my book. Like I said, that has to be on the cover. Subtitle, you can put any other additional information, and you want to put things that people are searching for so people can find your book, and we'll get a little more into that. For author, I'm putting mine under a brand name, which is Serkworks Art Lab, so I'm going to put that all under the last name there. But if you're just putting your real name, put your first name under first name and last name under last name. And I'm skipping over a few things like edition number. That's not really relevant to what I'm doing. But you do want to put a description, make it something, any pertinent information that you want your customers to know. Definitely make sure that you own the copyright. This is your own creation, so I'm going to click on that. Now we're going to go into keywords, and that's where we're going to dive back into BookBolt once more, because they have a great keyword generator that is going to allow us to create keywords, because uploading the book is just the first step. We want that book to get found, and the best way to get it found is to add great keywords for your SEO and everything. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and click on the keyword module in BookBolt, and then I'm going to type in my main keyword for this. It's going to be comic book, and then I'm going to do search, and it'll take a little while for it to populate the search. So we're going to do a search on that, and then it's going to give us a bunch of different keywords that we can use to hopefully get our book found. In addition to this, you want to do your own promotion, but people can find it natively because Amazon's such a big platform, but you got to have those great keywords. So what you're going to get here is our main keyword, and then the total results. Okay, so now we have our results. First, what we're going to see is the keywords and phrases. These are all different keywords that you can pick and you can use, and it's got some information about. The first one is the Amazon SV. That's the search volume. The Google SV, search volume once again, and the CPC, and that's cost per click. That's for Google. So that's not what you're paying. Basically, that's if somebody wants to advertise, that's about what it's going to cost to click on that. So basically, the only reason we're looking at this information is to see how much this is being searched for and sort of the value of the words that we're using. Obviously, the higher the volume that people are searching for, the better. So we want to look for some of those higher volume searches. Those are the keywords that people are actively using. So you can see a lot of these are listed as high volume searches. So these are going to be pretty good. Some of them may not seem like they're relevant to what we're using, like comic book display. I mean, we're not selling a comic book display, but if somebody's searching comic book display, chances are they're into comics and they may be interested in what you're doing. So what you want to kind of look out for is what we call the long tail keywords, which are the longer terms that you can add in that keyword search, because those are typically pretty good as far as, it's a little more specific, so you have a better chance of getting found instead of just putting comic book in there. Not that you don't want to put comic book in there, but the chances that you're going to get found when everyone is putting that same keyword in there are a little slim. So look for those long tail keywords and be specific. So now we're going to go back into KDP. We've got our different keywords. I've created all the different keywords that I think might work, and you can go, I believe you can go back in and change these after the fact, or maybe not. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Some of the things on Amazon when you're uploading, you can go back in and edit later. Some of them you can't. I think the keywords you can change, and you can kind of play around with them. I've never actually changed any of mine. I'm pretty happy with them from the get-go. So I've gone through, I've added all my keywords. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find a category, and once again, we're going to go back to BookBolt because they have another module that's going to allow you to search for the perfect category for your particular book. So it's very similar to what we just did with the keywords, but here we're going to go to KDP categories. We're going to enter our keyword comic book. We're going to go search for that, and here we've got a bunch of different categories. And when you first upload to Amazon, you only get to pick 2 categories. There is a way where you can go back in, and this is a little more advanced, where you can email Amazon and ask to be put in some other categories. Sometimes I don't even bother with that, but you can start off by just finding those 2 perfect categories through BookBolt's category search. Find your categories, and then you can go back in and add those in there. So like comic books and graphic novels, we can go general, and if ours is a superhero book, we can click superheroes. If it's not, whatever. There's also activity books. So just find those 2 categories for you, and you can see where we've got comic books and graphic novels, general, and juvenile fiction activity books. So those are the 2 that I chose. And now we just want to make sure that we don't have any adult language. You can upload that. The thing is, if your book does have adult content, you won't be able to advertise it, like if you want to do paid ads. So I just click, for my book, there's nothing like that in there, so I'm not worried about it. Now we can create an ISBN number, and that is the little barcode on the back. Now, the ISBN that you're getting from Amazon is just specific to Amazon. You can't go to like a Walmart or some other place and use that same ISBN number, but it works for Amazon, and it also works for any affiliates they have, any partners, if you want to do expanded distribution. So I'm just assigning my ISBN number, publisher's date, that's just going to be the date that I'm uploading this. And then I want to go ahead, I want mine to be black and white interiors on white paper. The covers are always color. 6x9, which we've talked about, that's what we set everything up for. I'm doing full bleed. So bleed, Pete, and again that's PDF, and I'm selecting matte. I prefer matte over glossy, but that's kind of up to you if you want a matte cover versus a glossy cover, or vice versa. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload my manuscript, which is the interior. So I went through with the files that we created with BookBolt and a PDF combiner, uploaded the interior. Now what we're going to do is we're going to upload the cover to the book. Now, they do have a cover creator on Amazon. You can use that as well. I'm going to upload my own cover, so click on the box below, upload my own cover, and then once I do that, then I'm going to launch a preview. Now, this can take a while, but now the preview's up, some time has passed, it's all uploaded, and you can see there's my finished cover, and I'm just going to preview this to make sure it works. So I'm just going to kind of flip through here, make sure there's no mistakes and everything. Everything seems to be lining up okay. So yeah, and you can see this is my guide on lettering comics. That's available on Amazon.com. And yeah, and it's going to give you tools. Now we get into the lettering guide, and this is what I was talking about before, where the rest of the pages just are duplicates of these here, these lines where you can go through here. So that's why when you set up the interiors on BookBolt, it's kind of defaults to that, the same 2 pages done over and over again. But like I said, I kind of showed you a roundabout on how to get around that. Hopefully they'll expand that function. So now what we have is we've got our printing cost. That's the cost that it's going to actually cost for Amazon to print the books. So we're going to save and continue, and we'll get to our next screen here as it saves, and sometimes it can take a little while to save. Save successful. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to decide how much to charge for a book. Okay, so now we're going to pick our territory. So you can go Amazon.com, which is the U.S. Amazon. There's also other, regions that you can go if you want to do international shipping. If you watch my video before, the one before this, you'll know why it's a good idea to use this to ship internationally. And if you want to do that, you can create 2 separate listings. You can create one for Amazon.com, which is the U.S., and then a separate one for international. And you can kind of do 2 different prices, and you can bump that price up a little bit for the international, or you can just sell through internationally if you don't want to sell your book. If you want to sell your book through your website at a certain price, that's up to you. All right, so here we're going to be able to set our price. After price, so we enter our price, and that's in US dollars here. And then we've got Amazon and expanded distribution. If you watch my other video, you'll know that expanded distribution is only if you want your books into like libraries or whatever. And there's no guarantee it will go in there, but if Amazon can get it in there, then you're going to earn 40% royalty as opposed to the 60% that you would use. But that's optional. You don't have to choose expanded distribution because it is a lower royalty on that. So I usually click it on anyway because money's money, even if it's a little bit, but that's me. So 60% is what you're going to get, and Amazon gets that 40%, plus whatever the shipping cost. That's a separate factor. So here I'm just playing around with different equations to see what works best as far as pricing my book. Now my workbooks that I'm actually uploading here, they don't cost $20. Like I'm just showing you what you may charge for like a graphic novel or trade paperback. My workbooks sell for around $650 or something like that. So they're a lot less expensive. But I just want to show you that because more likely than not, you aren't going to be doing those type of books. And there's not a huge royalty on those. It's the volume thing really. But when I sell my graphic novel, I'm going to price that a little higher because there's a lot more work that goes into that. And once we decide on our price, then we're just going to click publish your paperback book, or if it's an ebook, then you publish your ebook and just cross your fingers and hope that Amazon doesn't come back with, oh, you got to change that, or you don't have the wrong size on that. And that can happen, and that's a little bit of trial and error when you do get those back. And I've had things kick back because either I put too much like repeating information in my description, or maybe my bleed was a little off or whatever. So with any luck, you'll get approved, and then your book will be on Amazon, and hopefully if you use the right keywords, then people are going to start to find that and everything, and you'll start selling some books. But I would always also recommend that you do what other promotions, whether you're posting about your comic books online or whatever, and just leave a link to Amazon where people can find it. Because the main thing about getting on Amazon is everyone's pretty much already got an Amazon account. So it's easier to sell on Amazon than it is your own website. Even though when I sell on my website, I make quite a bit more because there's not a middleman involved. But for somebody to order my website, they've got to enter their credit card and all that. But with Amazon, it's already on file, plus free shipping with Amazon Prime is a big plus. So you're more likely to sell more books on Amazon, and that's why it's always important to try to get your books on Amazon, and that's what this video is all about. So there you go. So there you have it. That is how you design and upload your books to Amazon using the Amazon KDP platform and BookBolt. And if you want to check out BookBolt, like I said, there is a link where you can get 20% off of that. That's pretty awesome. So check that out. So I want to know, are you considering uploading your books and selling them on Amazon? Was this helpful? Was there anything that you maybe were confused by? Let me know in the comments section. I will try to straighten all that stuff out. I try to get back to everyone. So yeah, don't be afraid to leave a comment. And yeah, I will be back next week with another video. I'll see you then. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.